Hey, this is PxP, artist discussions about process and practice. PxP is brought to you by the City of Chico Arts Commission, serving our Chico community through arts advocacy and partnerships that promote our community's artistic and cultural development, and the 1078 Gallery, a nonprofit, volunteer-run organization offering exciting exhibitions of contemporary and experimental artworks in visual, musical, literary, film, and performance mediums. This is Episode 6 with Zach Elstein, Tamara Murphy, and Chad Schneider. So, let's have you go around and just kind of talk about different projects you've been involved in, different mediums you work in, who you are, what you do. You can touch on maybe how long you've been in Chico, or what do you got going on and what's exciting in your world. Tamara.
Hello, I'm Tamara. I am mainly a ceramics and glass artist. I dabble in fiber arts and anything else I feel like in the moment, but I have been in Chico for probably 7 years now. I love it here, love the community, and I've recently also become an educator, both at Butte College and Chico State. I work with 1078 Gallery on the exhibitions committee and got to help facilitate the Bowls for Gaza show that just happened with Amanda Reiner.
What classes did you teach?
I'm teaching ceramics at Butte and glass blowing at Chico State. Yeah, I love them both.
Chad.
Hi.
Hi.
I've been making things most of my life and got involved in the makerspace at Butte College when I went back to school for drafting 4 years ago, and then became the technician there. So I think that's a lot of what people think about for me with sort of a connection to the arts is the way I've facilitated arts for other people. I've been here maybe 10 years now, maybe 11, somewhere in that range. And my role in the arts kind of feels like it ramped up with getting hired to work in that makerspace as a technician.
What kinds of toys do you have in that makerspace?
Oh, wow. Laser cutters, CNC routers, multi-head embroidery machines, 3D printers, perfect bind bookbinding equipment, water jet cutter, plasma cutter, t-shirt printer. There's more. I'm going to stop listing fancy machines, but
really
it's a lot of fun.
Is that who can have access to that space?
That space is available to any Butte College student. It's incredible. Yeah, it's fully available to Butte College students, and there's a million ways to be a Butte College student. So I highly encourage everyone to consider. Yeah, you can take one class.
I will be taking a class next semester.
Truly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did a photo show, me and Zach, recently, that was a photo booth that would take your picture in complete dark when you pushed a button, and got like 350 portraits of people that way.
What's up, Zach?
Nothing. Hey.
You got to get closer to the mic.
I'm Zach. Yeah, I think most of my art, I do a lot of different things, but I think most of it kind of revolves around my interest in electronics and coding and stuff. Yeah, I've been in Butte County for like 15 years. I'm in Chico since the campfire. And yeah, I'm currently teaching at a high school.
Okay. Layers to Zach. Let's talk about creative origins. I love this part of the discussion. So we're thinking about creative origin. When we'll just edit that part
Pancreas.
out. Pancreas. All right, maybe we'll keep that in. When we think about creative origins, what are the things that happened in your life that led you to becoming an artist? Parents, circumstances, friends, early interests? What got you here?
As a little kid, I loved drawing, but I was super critical of my drawing, and so it was very frustrating, and I kind of stopped for a little while. And then in high school, I started getting high and just wanted something to do while listening to music, and so I got into graffiti, and that was kind of really like what jumped me into taking it seriously and letting go of like my self-criticisms and moving forward.
I think high school is my origin as an artist. I did art before then, but I didn't have any identity as an artist until high school. I had a minivan when I first started driving, and I would like shuttle people to this event called Arts Alive in Eureka, where it was like open studios every Saturday night for like 50 galleries in downtown Eureka. It's really absurd how much art you could look at in like kind of, an area you might not anticipate that is a really rural and relatively small community. So I think around that time when I started like really just going to shows a lot there and realizing that there's like a language that there's a like literacy to art, and it was kind of a language that I felt more comfortable in than a lot of other options. Yeah, so I would say high school. But I definitely did art much earlier. I was drawing and painting and stuff, but I don't think I had any concept of that as like an identity. Yeah.
I think that there's like 50 ways I could answer this question, but I think one of the big ones is, I think it was like fourth grade, we were involved in the Reflections contest, which is like, I think a statewide or nationwide like art competition, and there's like a different theme every year, and the theme that year was anything is possible, and I drew this like egg hatching out of a chicken, and my parents are both accountants and like pretty tight-laced, and they're like, please don't enter this in the show, this is like really creepy and like like nah dog, and I like went against their judgments and entered it anyways, and like won the like local division in it, and it gave me this like understanding of the way art affects perception, or in like a simplified, youthful version of that. So yeah, that sort of like opened my mind to like it's okay to be like different and creative and take chances, and living in a rural place, that was a healthy realization. But yeah, then kind of did art forever, tried painting for a long time, but then like flunked out of college when I was 18, started taking a bunch of community college art classes, took glass blowing with my mom, that was sick. Yeah, it's just been growing since then.
Okay, so when we think about the act of creating, how would you describe that? What does it feel like? I know it's kind of a broad, abstract question, but when you're creating, or you're getting into that mode, how would you describe that? Or
I just never shut up. I've been trying really hard not to talk the whole time too, so I think I'm balancing all right. But yeah, if I if I have a creative idea, I just start talking about it. Most likely, I'm just like, what if, and then I go into whatever I'm thinking immediately. I've been trying to. At one point, my friend Taylor got me a little notepad, and the first page said, "I have all these great ideas. I should write them down."
okay.
I think that about sums it up. So I've gotten better at keeping track of the concepts and then saving them for the moment. And I think that's a lot of the creative process is just like maybe should be internal, but it's happening at full speed, I guess.
Verbal processing,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
having some like willing collaborators to like soundboard for you, and give you feedback about those ideas.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I can relate to that. Tamara.
We're a little bit at odds with that, because I'm a much more, I process just about everything internally, and when I say something out loud, it's fact at that point for me, pretty close to. So We've been a fun balance in that, but I'd say the creative process for me starts with like not thinking about art and like just going and doing something else for like a period of time, and like experiencing my friends and my life and the outdoors and anything else. And then when I get that gumption for art, it's kind of like I start just by kind of shooting darts in the dark room and just try things out, see what happens. I think that's partially why I'm drawn to clay and these really tactile mediums, is because you don't always have to have a plan. You can just sort of build that like brain hand connection and things start to happen subconsciously and come out on their own.
Zach, how do you get going on an idea? And
I think a lot of my projects start with like, I just really enjoy learning new things, and so most things I make are kind of just like experiment with what I've learned or what I've worked on. So a lot of that. Jason actually said something that like really helped me understand my process, and he's like, there's really two phases to this. There's like a gathering phase where you're kind of like getting your ideas and your skills or your techniques down and your like the equipment you need, and then there's the like creation phase. And actually, Jason telling me that really helped me separate things. So I used to get really bogged down, like, okay, I'm trying to do this, now I'm gonna go to the computer so I can learn about this, and it was a lot of back and forth, and I was getting really like lost. And now it's really easy, like, no, this is like a gathering time, so I'm supposed to be learning stuff. And I guess the other thing is like, and I know Tamara's this way too, I really like have to do it. Like I have to spend so many hours a week using my hands making something, or else there's something inside me that just kind of like eats me up. And so I just know I have to like sit down at the desk and get going. And I guess I use a lot of like gas station stimulants, like caffeine, nicotine, like to keep me going in that phase. Yeah.
do you actually like schedule time to play or to practice or just to engage like that?
I just don't plan much else.
Okay.
I just like.
Okay. I mean, that's a great strategy to keep it open.
Yeah.
Yeah, give yourself that time. Okay, so when you're doing these like big research projects and you're like gathering all this information and your notes and your documentation, how do you organize that? What are you doing to keep track of all this learning?
I'm not good at organizing. Like I learn stuff long enough to use it for a project, and if I don't do it like 10 times, I forget about it.
Okay, so are you writing stuff down in a notebook? Are you making a doc on the computer? No, okay.
I've actually made text documents on his computer to save the information that has come up. And
We've been doing a lot of collaborative projects lately, and Chad's kind of the best collaborative partner for me because I just want to like burn through shit and like see what happens and get to it and finish. And if it's okay, it's okay. And if it's not, fuck it, who cares? Move on. Chad is so deliberate and so conscious of like every choice and having this like complete understanding of what's going on that it's really like helped me slow down when I'm working with him and take the time to, record what I'm thinking about.
helps me speed up.
Functional partnerships. Have you ever been in some bad collaborative partnerships? Is there any
Have I
fails?
been in bad collaborative partner? No, it's my favorite way to work. It's honestly my favorite. Like I would much rather use my skills to help someone else bring their ideas to some kind of life than take my own ideas that far. Like I really enjoy working with other people and making shit work out.
Tamara, how about you? Collaboration, how does that fit into your practice?
I am very specific with what I want out of a project, but I'm not very good at voicing it. So I'm not a good collaborative partner for those reasons. I like collaborating on events and shows and things like that, but in the actual work, it's really hard for me to like give the reins over to anyone else and like let that be okay.
That's good to know about yourself.
Yeah. It's good.
Chad, how do you feel about your collaborative partnerships? Or
I think like collaboration is integral to art for me. I can draw on my own, but like the wealth of art is community part. I think, you can work on a different scale communally, and
I would love to add that I absolutely rely on my community especially Chad. But I've had a lot of assistance with materials I'm not familiar with and like different fabrications. Like I need my community for that, and I'm super appreciative of that. But there's things that just have to happen alone. Yeah.
I think that's like a really interesting point, that like collaboration and collaborative artworks are like completely separate subjects, because like sometimes you're truly just realizing your like singular vision through the process of other people, and sometimes you're collaborating to make the process, so it's like almost two different subjects, I think.
Can you describe the environments that you create in? Like, what's your zone and the vibe have to be for you to be feeling productive, feel like you're getting stuff done? I guess, so maybe this is like a two-parter. It's like, what do you need to have out to get into that creative flow? And then like, then that could also be like, what emotional state do you have to be in, or what has to be going right or wrong to...
It's kind of like, I relate to something that Jesse Hall said in the first one. There's a little analogy. I don't think it was an analogy. I think it's real, but you could think it's an analogy. I have to like get out of my own way. Like I think in this world there's billions of little spirits and things that, and what they do is they attach themselves to people and they drive you and push you in certain directions. And some are good directions, some are bad directions. And I just think I have this little thing that's attached itself to me, and I have to get out of its way, because it's really the driving force when it comes to making things. And it's also the thing that like eats me alive inside if I don't do that. So it's kind of like, for me, it's about like getting out of the way, like getting out of my own head so something else can be there and make the choices.
You gotta appease the little guy.
Yeah.
This is, you're intriguing me with this. Is it like a okay, so like a spirit? It's like, do you feel like it's not a demon, but
It is a demon. It's horrible. Like it's an ugly, horrible thing, and it consumes my memories and thoughts if I don't feed it what it wants. And what it wants is to sit and not think while I use my hands. Like it wants that process, and it wants the product to devour. And so it's ugly. It's horrible. I hate it, and like that's why I have to like keep going and keep making things and keep pushing forward, because it just kind of consumes me if I don't.
Do you talk to it?
No.
Yes.
No, I know it's there, and I'm scared of it, and I try to ignore it, but...
I think that innovation is like almost more harmful than helpful for humanity at this point, but it's like hardwired into like our long memory. And being like sort of like driven to innovate or to make things that don't need to exist is like almost a burden sometimes.
that's such a heavy thought.
I guess so.
That because it kind of brings up like,
it's kind of a demon, yeah.
well, it's kind of like, what's the point of making anything?
I don't know.
Wow.
I'm not sure.
I think that is like a legitimate kind of thought process that pops up every once in a while. Like why am I doing this? Why am I making this big paper mache dolphin man? I don't know, you know. But it's just that impulse to do it.
It's the dolphin man for you too.
How many projects do you have in progress right now, or can you describe like that side of making things? How much stuff do you have on the shelf or on the table, or you know, how do you manage all that?
I have like a solid 40 or 50 objects in progress.
Okay.
Some of them are in my home studio. Some of them are like in either campus that I work on. I don't know. I mean, I'm like juggling between like glass objects and ceramic objects and like anything else that like connects into this too. And sometimes the glass and ceramics are in a sculpture together. So there's like all of these sort of pieces and elements that create this cohesive whole. And so if I finish one on its own, then it may or may not connect to the other ones I make. So there's like sort of just lengths of time where I'm doing a certain part of the practice, and then lengths of time like I'll be building things out of clay and I'll be making blown glass objects, and then later on I do the glaze firings, or like there's always these like different elements that are kind of naturally happen in different times.
In batches. Too.
Yeah, yeah, batches.
Yeah, and that's like loading a kiln. You need to have enough stuff to fill the kiln.
Fill that sucker.
Yeah. So there's some practicality to that. Are you like working on a show?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know where or when, but
Okay.
I would feel more
That's
confident.
in the back of your mind. That's
Yeah.
kind of like what
Yeah.
you're building or you're making all this stuff for.
Yeah, I've heard
Okay.
that it's like totally cool and welcome to like cold call galleries now. So I want to do that with a collection of work that shows what I could show immediately, and yeah, go from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chad, how many projects you got going?
Me and Zach have a couple. There's like a list of projects that I just kind of write down and start at any time and sort of accumulate pieces for in a way that I feel okay about. So there's always like a pretty good pile of stuff for for like the intention of making things. And I'm about to start at Chico State for an art studio degree, so I'll be like a certified artist soon. And so there's a lot of anticipation of that, and there's a lot of drawing right now, which is nice because I can do a couple drawings in a day and see some refinement in my thinking or whatever, and it's not very resource intensive, and it allows me to still exist in the summer leading up to being pretty busy. So I'm enjoying that. I'm kind of, yeah.
Would you call that your like regular practice? Like you're intentionally drawing,
Yeah.
multiple times a day?
I really pushed myself to draw this year. And as the school semester got going, it started to fade out because I did a really, I did like 13 units this semester, so it was full time. So I let the drawing kind of fade out then, but I've been really pushing to get it back in the summer. So yeah. I'm just putting my thoughts out of my head into like two-dimensional books. Yeah, what am I drawing?
I mean, I'm more aware of the medium, which is a lot of crayons.
Yeah, it's all crayon right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Okay. That's like, honestly.
Okay.
I'm like, I don't really know. And it's like,
Just
well,
so
it's a lot of crayon drawings.
Okay. And like wax crayons, not like chalk crayons. Okay.
They're immaculate. They're so good because they're like $4 for like a box of 48, and then you get these vibrant colors. And I've been drawing in books that I take out of free libraries because I find them offensive. And then I'm trying to cover up the entire interior of the book with crayon so that you can't see any of the words but the ones I wanted to leave exposed. So that's like the nitty gritty of what drawing is right now. But there's other parts too. But yeah.
Do you sharpen your crayons?
Oh yeah. I sharpen them by controlling how I use them as I go.
Okay.
Usually I try not to just like shave parts off and then.
Because that's
they're
wasteful.
Well, then they're everywhere. Maybe that's why. I'm not sure.
He has
I
a
do
beautiful
try not
crown
to.
Oh.
case.
Yeah, I got it at a garage sale.
Describe it.
It's got a blue base which holds 120 crayons and a clear cover which folds down and closes over the crayons and then folds over the top and creates a stand so they can all be displayed. Yeah.
Okay, next question.
Okay.
Related to crayons.
Yeah.
Do you keep them in order?
No.
Like, I don't know.
Well,
They kind of were in order.
Okay, busted. Yeah, I guess so. They're kind of in color order, but it's not accurate. I don't think someone would like pull out a color wheel and be like, "I'll be damned."
No, but do you keep them? No, but do you have a particular order that
They're
you
kind of color coordinated.
Okay.
so-
Zach, any crayon?
No,
crayon that you're-
I'm only thinking about crayons. What was the original question?
How many? What projects you got? I'd actually love
Oh,
to
okay,
hear.
okay.
Like, can you give us a teaser of what your projects you're working on together?
We're working
or?
on a Tetris. Yeah, Zach, take
Oh.
it from there. I talked to
Tetris.
Yeah, Chad and I are working on making like a coding Tetris and having it run on a LED matrix.
Put it in the phone booth outside the gallery.
That was the goal.
We hope so.
There's an 8-bit show coming up, and we may just put it in that, so we'll see.
Okay. And so, like, viewers can play. Yeah. Okay. Are you changing the shape of, or is it just the concept of Tetris?
No, it's fucking just like, one of the holdups is Chad needs it to be as like exactly the original Tetris as possible, like down to scoring and speed and everything. So it's
every
as
obscure
close.
part of the rules.
Yeah,
I really wanted to do them.
It's very close to the original Tetris.
Zach's got some great other projects.
Yeah, I guess I'm the kind. I have a lot of projects going all at once, but I'm also the only I can only like hyper focus on one thing at a time. Like last year, I'm trying to make like a whole synth from scratch by just making the components. And yeah, it took me like 4 months last year, and so that's kind of that's the only thing I could think about or do. Like for the last month, I'm just trying to learn this one song on the guitar and get it perfectly. So I just kind of have these like hyper focuses, and I'll know they'll go away and move on to something else eventually. So.
Okay. I think we'll take a break. I love this. Crayons, Tetris. I'll have some writing utensils and some scraps of paper if you want to insert a question into the discussion. I would love that. All right, we'll take 10-15, grab another drink, use the restroom. I want to start with art fails. So I want you to describe a spectacular art fail, something that you really learned a lot about yourself or about the medium. Maybe it took you down a couple pegs. Is there like an epic fail that you can recall?
I had a fun one. Well, it wasn't fun. I cried in a Walgreens. But so there was a phase in my early 20s where I was doing a lot of film photography, and a lot of it was self-portraits. And so I was like building up to this point where I like straight up hired a body painter. And it was just like me in some dude's house, and he like painted my entire body in like vertical stripes. And then I went to my friend Taylor's house and took a weird series of self-portraits in his parents' garage by myself. And so I was really broke at the time, and Walgreens was doing like $3 film development onto a CD. And it was unfortunately this very like obscure type of black and white film that I just didn't think through. So like took it in, came back an hour later to pick it up, and the guy was just like, something went wrong, and like the film was like sticky and gray and like obviously failed. And I just started crying. He was just like, well, you don't have to pay for it. It's like, oh, okay.
Were you still painted?
I wasn't.
All right.
But
I was trying to imagine like the tears and the film guy.
That would have been beautiful. There was like
then somebody would take a picture of that.
Yeah, if only. There was a great like drive across town with all the paint on that was felt good. Lots of looks.
How did you get the body paint off?
I don't remember.
Like oil or?
I probably ruined his family's shower.
Okay.
Or something.
Chad, body paint or?
I'm gonna riff off photography.
Okay.
At some point in my 20s, I took probably like 30 rolls of film, and I just kept buying more film and shooting more film, and I never developed any of them. And it's like, so I waited a really long time, and I just kept being like, oh, I'll just refrigerate it, whatever. And then I was like, it's like $15 a roll, and that era of my life sucked. I'm just gonna move on. And at some point I actually threw them away, because I was like, it's reached a point where they're like gonna be faded, it's gonna be kind of, but it's like this huge amount of like effort and consideration that I just decided like, nope, that doesn't exist. Like that it's done what I wanted it to, and I don't want to look at it. And that's a huge fail, because like that's not the art. You know what I mean? Like the art isn't like considering the idea of an image. The art is the image. So by like any real standard, that's like probably one of my biggest art fails, because there was no product to the whole process.
Do you tend to, like, I feel like I do this sometimes, like I'll get everything together and I'm doing it, but it's like I don't do the last step, and then nobody
Absolutely.
ever sees it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Just to rub it in a little bit, I know that there was at least one birthday where we offered to develop at least a portion of it.
There had to be more going on there than an inability to develop photographs. You know what I mean? Like there was some rejection of the entire process inside of me that just said like, they're gone. You know, I'm done with that shit.
Do you ever have that experience where I feel like this is something I have to kind of battle with? Is like as soon as I finish a project, I'm like, ugh, like I almost like I hate it. I don't want to see it. I'm like, I don't know if it's shame. It's not really shame, but it's just like I've come through something and I want nothing to do with it anymore. But then I'll throw it away, and then I regret throwing a lot of stuff away. I don't know.
I like to put things in closets for like 6 months, come
Holding
back to
space.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's like the expectation of a project, and the reality often doesn't fit that. But then you just, disconnect from it and come back to it with fresh eyes. And I think there's like a lot of greatness that wasn't in the expectation.
That's so important, I think, to like step back and like allow yourself time to have maybe an opportunity to have a different perspective on it, so you don't have that, like, I don't know, because it's like you just have a bad emotional association with it or something.
Yeah, there's a lot of things I've made that are still just sitting around in mid-process because I don't love them. Or like I made a rug like 2 or 3 years ago, and I'm like, I don't want to get rid of it because it exists now, and I think there's good things about it, but I've never finished it, There's a lot of ways it could go, and it's still just in process because it was just such a lackluster piece I didn't like the medium, I guess.
We're selling a rug tufting gun if anyone's interested.
Podcast listeners, have you been wanting to buy a tufting gun?
But Zach, you brought something for show and tell.
Yeah, we knew these questions, so I have a little problem.
He's about to show us a
I've
fail.
been making, I've been trying to make this synth, and there's a part of a synth that's an ADSR envelope. It's like what changes the noise from being constant to being like, rare, rare, rare. And I could not fucking make one, and so I brought all of my failures. And it's like, it took me like 2 4-hour nights to make all of these, and like another night to chase it down, and like these are all failed ADSR envelopes. And I like to leave them out to remind myself of what a failure I was. And so like I've had all these on my desk. I'm like, I finally got it done, but it was like, this is like a month's worth of work that is just wasted, It's like, that was so many nights and so much shit, and now there's nothing. Yeah, that's been my biggest failure of lately, was an ADSR envelope. It was like a really frustrating month of my life.
Did you make one?
No, I ended up doing... So at ADSR's attack, decay, sustain, release, I just have like an attack release envelope that I made. It's not quite the full gauge, but it works.
What are the things, here's a question from the audience, what are the things that get in the way of you practicing your craft? So what's competing for your time and attention and or sabotaging you in some way? Time in your medium or reaching your goals or...
It's the old ad had, just like being able to focus, just like trying to find that ability to like stay focused and be focused.
Like getting interested in other things and starting to research other things? Is it your phone? Like what's the distraction?
It's just like it's like an inability to get started sometimes. It's like an inability to like get to that place where you know what you need to do to move forward.
Chad.
Oh, pass. So many things get in my way of my art, I guess. I can't think of one right now that stands out the most, but I think just not choosing it is pretty much
Yeah, that's
the
exactly
final
right.
answer. It's like there's a million different things that you can do with your time, and you just have to choose how you spend it. It's like what taking precedent over my art is like a hard question to answer because it changes with the season.
But you have that expectation of yourself that you should be practicing art at some frequency that you determine to mean that you're an artist or being productive or that you're staying true to yourself.
I feel like almost your community has an expectation that you like envelop over time. I'm not sure I do. I don't have the same drive that Zach and Tamra have, where I feel like I have to be making art, but I am constantly thinking about the arts in some way or another, no matter what format it is.
Yeah, I think like positioning yourself within a community or in proximity to other artists, engaging in those conversations, and then like opportunities being presented to show art or make art or, you know, be involved in the arts, that will drive you, right? And that's a choice too. And I think you can be more successful by putting yourself in that environment, in those situations, in that community. Tamara, do you feel like you need to be making stuff? Do you have some kind of inner dialogue or some kind of standard that you're trying to meet?
Yeah, I mean, there's always been a degree of like self-doubt or like seasons of depression or different things where the making stops. And then there's like just the day-to-day like work tasks, home care, dog care. Like there's a lot of daily things that will get in the way of the process. But yeah, kind of what Chad was saying, I think the more we get situated into a community that like loves us and supports us and wants to see those things out of us, the more it's just kind of naturally happening. And we turned our bedroom into a ceramic studio. And
Yeah, we
That's
sleep in the
helping.
living room now.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That was a choice.
it was a great choice.
Yeah.
It's still hella cute. Like it's
All right. Last question of the night, a fun one. And I want to give credit to Michelle Ott for such a great question. What would you make if you had no constraints?
Mine's a little like selfish and boring, but like I really want to make my own bathroom. Like I want to make the sink, the tile. like I want to just like full on like it's floor to ceiling tile, wet room style. The sink is something I made myself. That's like
What
dumb.
about the toilet?
I want to make the toilet. That's going to take more research, but I definitely want to try my hand at a toilet. See if I can improve upon the design, you know. There's a residency Kohler does, and I think they're usually looking for more conceptual art, but if I can get in there and make some toilets, like, I'd be thrilled.
damn, I would pee in your toilet all day.
Love to see the toilet you would make. Okay, bathroom. I love that.
Yeah.
No constraints, Chad.
No
Money's not an
constraints.
object, space.
I just read a short story about this sentient yogurt that is really, really intelligent, and it's able to so it's giving advice to world leaders, and it have to follow every step of the advice, or it won't work. And the world leaders like try to follow the advice and then stray from it, and then they're in even worse shit. And then the yogurt's like, I'm sorry, if you just followed along. So then eventually the yogurt gives them like a new set of advice, and they follow it, and it's like the most utopic existence for humanity. I think experimental research vats for yogurts would be like the funniest art project, to like make like a lot of yogurt under the enterprise that you're trying to like breed more and more intelligent yogurts. I think that's really funny right now. I don't have a real answer. I'm sorry.
That's the realest answer ever.
I think a boat would be sick. A lot of my favorite teachers have made boats, and a lot of artists I admire have like built boats. And I think that's like a really excellent tradition.
There was a study done in the 70s where these scientists put like lie detector test into some jars of yogurt, and like they were like feeding one of the yogurts, and the other yogurt was like getting jealous and like responding, or that's at least like the way that they read as what the yogurt was doing. But yeah, I think there's room for this.
Yeah, I do too.
Well, I think like Zach could develop some sort of electronic sensors that are picking up readings from the bacterial like action. So
everyone's down to bioengineer some yogurt. Right
Yeah,
now.
for
That's
sure.
what I'm hearing. I think we do it.
what would you make, Zach? No constraints.
If I had no constraints, I would just choose to not ever need to sleep, would probably be what I would choose. But realistically, I would just like, my little boxes are a lot about like light and like how light fills a space and how light changes the space. And so I think I would just really like to do those but bigger, like you be in the space and see how light affects it and light changes the feelings of it, and that would be it.
Let's collab on that.
All right, and yogurt, of course.
I kind of feel like this stage area would be a really great box.
Jason and I have a little thing going that like kind of gets there. We'll see if we develop it. And,
Okay, exciting things to come. I really loved this conversation. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks so much for hosting this and all of these. Like, it's been awesome.
And thanks everybody for showing up tonight.
Yeah, thank you all for coming.
Thanks again to the 1078 Gallery for holding space for these conversations. Thank you Aaron Wade and Becky Snow for event support. Thank you Kurt Lind, our live sound engineer. And the theme song is an excerpt from Future Fantasy by Eric Elliott.